Every time the government prints more money, the rich get richer first. You get the bill later. This is not a glitch. This is the system working exactly as designed. And it is robbing you blind right now. Here is exactly how it works. Most people think banks only lend out money that other customers already deposited. That is not accurate. Banks create brand new money out of nothing every single time they give a loan, a mortgage, or increase your credit card limit. This is called credit creation. But here is the part they do not tell you. The bank creates the principal amount of the credit. They do not create the money needed to pay the interest. That interest money does not exist yet. So someone else has to borrow even more just to create the dollars needed to pay it. This forces the whole system to keep creating more and more debt forever, and the compound interest effect is gigantic. Richard Price wrote, "1 penny put out at our Savior's birth to 5% compound interest would, before this time, have increased to a greater sum than would be contained in 150 millions of Earths, all solid gold." This alone means that each monetary system that charges more interest than value created through a loan must fail. Because banks create this new credit, the first people who receive it are banks, big investors, and corporations. They buy houses, stocks, and everything else at yesterday's cheap prices. By the time that same money finally reaches you, prices have already gone up. You pay the higher prices. They keep the profit. This is why the rich get richer, even when everything feels broken for everyone else. They call it quantitative easing. We call it printing money for the people who already have money. Stocks and house prices explode upward. Your paycheck barely moves. The bottom 50% of Americans own almost no stocks at all. So when the market booms, they get nothing. Banks even get paid billions just to sit on the Federal Reserve's money. This is not capitalism. This is legalized wealth transfer. The government's official inflation rate is a weighted average that almost nobody actually lives. They use 4 main tricks to hide the real number from you. Trick 1, exclusions. They invented something called core inflation, which sounds important, but it deliberately excludes food and fuel, the two things every household cannot avoid. Measuring inflation without food and energy is almost the same as measuring inflation after you subtract all the inflation. Trick 2, substitution. When the price of beef rises, they assume you will switch to chicken. So they remove beef from the calculation and replace it with the cheaper item. Voila, no inflation. But of course, it is all a lie. They do not record actual price increases. They record what they want you to believe you would do. Trick 3, geometric weighting. When prices rise too fast, the government reduces the weighting of that item in the calculation. Healthcare is 17% of the entire economy, but they gave it only a 6% weighting in the CPI because real health costs are rising. The more something hurts you, the less they count it. Trick 4, hedonics. If your refrigerator gets a minor upgrade, they arbitrarily decide that improvement is worth $150, so they reduce the recorded price by that amount, even if the sticker price stayed the same. They call this a quality adjustment. You pay the same or more, the government records a price decrease. The US Farm Bureau tracked the exact same basket of goods and found a real inflation rate nearly 3 times higher than what the government reported. One analyst calculated that if inflation were measured today using the same methods used before 1980, the true rate would be almost 10% higher than what the government claims. They use this number to stand up and say inflation is under control, while your grocery cart gets smaller every month. It is not a measurement error. It is how they hide the pain from you. They weight the numbers toward what wealthy people buy: luxury items, gadgets, private schools. Your real costs, rent, gas, groceries, electricity, rise much faster. They use this number to stand up and say inflation is under control, while your grocery cart gets smaller every month. It is not a measurement error. It is how they hide the pain from you. When inflation gets bad, they raise interest rates. New buyers and renters get crushed. Mortgage payments jump over $1,200 a month. Young people get priced out of homes permanently. But people who already own houses with cheap loans, they win again. Their homes become even more valuable because fewer people can buy. Debtors pay more. Savers get almost nothing. The system always protects those who already have assets. The US is the biggest debtor nation in history. On-balance sheet debt alone stands at $40 trillion. But that is just what they admit to. Add the off-balance sheet liabilities, Social Security, Medicare, and government pensions, and the true number climbs to roughly $261 trillion. These numbers are not virtual or theoretical money. They are exactly the same money that we use every day. And therefore, these numbers will hit us with full force. They cannot afford high interest rates anymore. So the Federal Reserve is forced to keep rates lower than they should be. That means inflation never really stops. They actually need high inflation to make their giant debt cheaper in real terms. You pay for their bad spending with your shrinking savings and wages. Your money is being slowly erased, legally. During the 2021 to 2022 economic disruption, companies raised prices way beyond their costs. When those costs came back down, they kept prices high anyway and pocketed record profits. A handful of giant companies control almost everything: airlines, groceries, drugs. They do not need to compete hard. They just follow each other up. Your real wages fall. Their bank accounts explode. This is happening to you, your family, and your future every single day. The system is rigged by design. They will never fix it themselves. The only way it changes is if enough people stand up and demand a fair monetary system, one that does not steal from the bottom to feed the top. If you are sick of watching your paycheck buy less every month, if you want your kids to actually afford a house one day, if you are done being quietly robbed by the people who print the money, join the movement today. The longer you wait, the more they take. Stay in tune for the details of the solution.